Period.
Batteries in here. Batteries.
Yeah.
Batteries. It's a pack of batteries.
Yeah, for your sinful acts.
No, I wouldn't do that in here.
That was funny when today.
The chair's not that comfortable.
I have a special chair for that.
It's like
I had to leave.
I was going to say something, I'm not going to.
Why?
It'll end up on TikTok or something.
How do you know?
Because it's funny.
I
It's
feel like
very
you should say
degrading. It's very degrading.
Say it, Kevin.
No.
The setup's gone, so just go ahead and say it.
No, I still think you can make it under the 3 minutes.
No. What the fuck? You're the one who posts shit to TikTok.
I know. I don't have to post it, but I'm going to if I did.
Say it, Kevin.
This isn't my unicorn chair with its special horn.
Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense.
That's right, America. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the lost art of common sense. And this week we'll be kind of just doing a rundown of the last week or so. And we got a special little thing at the end of our show, so stay tuned. We're doing new segment. It's called White Slur of the Week. What we're doing is kind of seeing every week we'll do a new white slur, and we see if anything catches YouTube's attention. So we'll have the white slur and what the meaning is behind the white slur every week. So if you have a white friend that's annoying you, check out our episodes from here on out for sure. And you can call your friend a special word. So let's get to it. The first thing I really want to do is, Josh, I listened to your episode last week about Generation X. I agree with everything you said pretty much. Yes, we were the last of a dying breed, dead breed, I guess, of people who grew up without the internet and were the first to be introduced to the internet and the age of computers for the most part. I mean, I'm sure the government had all this technology way beforehand from their backwards,
it's called reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering of the alien ships.
Yes.
But for us, the internet was pretty new and pretty exciting, and it has become a cesspool of trashy people yelling.
Yeah. So. Oh, how I long for the days of Slingo and Born.
Yeah.
That's all the internet was in the 90s. Slingo on AOL and Born.
Yeah. Good old dial-up. But I think, yes, kids today are spending too much time on their screens. Not enough parenting is being done. They're letting screens parent their kids. And that is pretty much what is driving the downfall of our country and will be the downfall of our country in the coming years if some of these kids do not get their heads out of their asses and experience the real world and realize you're not special. Not every kid is special. I'm not that special. Josh, I'm sorry, but you're not that special in the grand scheme of things.
What the fuck ever? I'm a superstar.
You're a special boy.
That's what all my teachers said. Oh, yeah. He's special.
But this accommodating kids to saying everything they do is, the greatest thing ever and how talented your kid is because he shoved a crayon up his nose. Or I don't know, whatever. You can't be congratulating your kids for everything. Kids need discipline. kids need structure, and they're not going to learn that from YouTube and PewDiePie and Mr. Beast and all these other gaming people and weird things. I don't even know if PewDiePie's a thing. I think that might have been a South
That would
Park
be
thing.
the thing that no, that was the thing on Netflix that they lost them a ton of subscribers because it's basically kiddie porn.
Yeah. So just if anything, at least monitor what your kids are watching. TikTok has a way to influence kids and doing stupid shit like eating Tide Pods and jumping out of vehicles while they're moving. So just mainly I just want to say, I know it's not every parent, but there is a large majority of parents who do not take the responsibility of being a parent sometimes. They'd rather have a screen do it, and so be it. At least when we were kids, the screen didn't do it. I mean, we played videos and games and stuff. I mean, yes. When Final Fantasy came out, I was playing Final Fantasy for like 2 weeks straight. But for the most part, I was outside almost every day otherwise and enjoying a actual social relationship with friends and doing stupid shit like building ramps and, falling off.
Crashing.
Ramps. Yes.
It's funny. I think that was
lesson.
I think that was the first time your anger showed its nasty little head. I remember one time you wouldn't come out, so I came over to your house and you're down there playing your video game, and I kept annoying you, trying to get you to stop playing, and you turned and you punched me, and I'm like, "Who the fuck are you punching me?" I vividly remember that.
I don't remember that at all.
It was all about Final Fantasy. It's probably because I knocked your ass out for hitting me. No, I did not. It's like, well, you're a jerk. I'm just going to keep annoying you until you stop playing.
That's my little 2 cents on Gen X and things we need to do better.
There is one thing I forgot last week that we kind of talked about today. One of the biggest things, and I think this whole I'm going to be my kid's friend bullshit, is there's a lot of people saying, I got spanked, or basically, I wouldn't say capital punishment, but, kids got their ass whipped back in our day. In fact, and I only got spanked. I got the belt once, and do not run from the belt because the whole belt hurts a hell of a lot less than catching the tip. Just saying. But like a lot of people are like, I'm never going to spank my kids, blah, blah. If your kid's out of line, the trick is, and what happened with me is I didn't get I got some pretty decent spankings. The whole I'll spank you till you can't sit down. That's a real thing. But I only remember getting spanked really when I was pretty young. And then it instills the respect/fear to where when you're fucking up and you get that look, the dad look, the wide-eyed, like, okay, I'm going to stop doing it. It's like conditioning your kids for respect and doing what they're told, being obedient. That's what your children should be, obedient. Like you're raising them and they shouldn't be going out doing whatever they want. So I think that's a big thing that came out of Gen X. I'm not going to spank my kids. And it wasn't just Gen X. That started culturally as far as I remember.
That was millennials and shit.
But I remember in school, because I think the states and everything got into it where they were like, if your parents are beating you, call this number. And I remember one of our buddies, he threatened to do that to his mom, and his mom called them. Here they are. Go ahead and tell them you're fixing to get your ass kicked.
Well, I think, once spanking, people were getting arrested for spanking their children. Because it wasn't the children calling, obviously most of the time. It was neighbors or just people. I mean, obviously you don't want to beat the shit out of your kid. But
no, I'm totally fine with swatting their ass, though.
Yeah, a little swat in the ass ain't, that's just,
I'm fine if a kid's lipping off and being totally disrespectful. I'm fine with a little backhand or, not a full up slap to the face, but a little.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Just don't give him a concussion.
Right to the side of the head. Yeah, exactly.
I actually I never had to do it, and I'm glad. But the whole go get your own Switch thing, that was not only physical but psychological. It's like, oh God, which one am I gonna get? If it's too big, it's gonna hurt more. But if it's too small, then he's gonna go get it, and he's gonna come back with a log.
The smaller one, that one hurts because there's a little more give to it.
It's a little whippy.
Yeah, a little whippy, or at least a thicker one. You're getting the brunt, but it's not as whippy. So,
well, you got to think in less than probably, I don't know, what did you think? 50 years maybe? We went from teachers beating a disrespectful kid's ass in class to parents going to jail for physically disciplining their children. Like they automatically turned disciplining their children into child abuse. And that's what's weird too, because I have a real problem with child protective services where they'll like, not necessarily them, but like they'll go after, like, it seems like they go after parents that are actually doing a decent job. And then you hear about, you just have total garbage parents that have no business having a kid. And it has to be an act of God for the state to come in and determine, yes, you're a horrible parent. The kid's going to go stay with the family member or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's like some of that shit's like just another example of being in clown world. But that was one thing. It wasn't just Gen X. It was an actual movement that I think started as we became teenagers.
Yes.
But yeah, I think not disciplining, like not physically disciplining your kids when their kid needed their ass whooped and not doing it, then like, oh yeah, because kids would be like, oh yeah, I'm grounded, or oh yeah. I mean, when I got grounded, I just go up and take shit apart in my room and build stuff out of it, whatever. I mean, it sucked, but like, it just, if you got an ass whooping and your ass hurt, you felt it.
Yep. So you thought twice about doing something dumb.
That's another thing Gen X does too. They brag about, oh, the wooden spoon or this or that. And then like, but I wouldn't beat my kids. So that was another, I don't know. That was one thing I forgot. I can't believe I forgot it because that was one of the biggest things. Like, no, you did that. Like, you could tell the kids who weren't spanked. I guarantee you, any kid or like even a teenager that's just like totally disrespectful or throwing a fit, 90% of those kids were never spanked.
Oh, no.
So I don't know. Yeah. I think the scariest part is I almost got spanked by my grandpa once. Grandparents are always like super nice and you can never do it wrong. And when you make them bad enough to where you think you can get a whooping from your grandpa, like,
yeah, no kidding.
You're scary, grandpa. I don't want to do it. My grandpa used to be like old school butcher kind of guy. Like,
oh, yeah.
Farmer. Like, I'm glad that I talked him out of not whooping my ass.
That one would have hurt.
Like, let's come to an understanding.
Yeah.
A peace treaty, if you will.
I will do extra
You
chores,
don't whoop my ass, and I will never do what you're mad at me again.
Yeah. It worked.
But, yeah, I mean, that wraps that up. I just want to make sure. I missed it last week, caught it this week. So,
yeah, that's why
all I'm saying is if they're lippy, spank your kids.
Exactly.
If you want to have good kids, spank your kids. The more you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to slip that PSA in there.
Yeah.
Haven't had one of those in a while, Kevin.
We have not. So throw it in there. All right, let's get down to what happened kind of this week. I think a little bits into last week, but I'm not sure. I can't remember days anymore. So the first thing I want to go off of is what do you think of the censure of Rashida Tlaib? And actually that 22 Democrats voted for it as well. I think there was like 2 Republicans that voted nay, but they had 22 Democrats vote to censure her for her anti-Semitic remarks, for her pro-Palestinian views, and basically
pro-genocide.
The phrase "from the river to the sea," which includes the whole state of Israel. So basically, she says Israel shouldn't exist, and that's what that meaning of that phrase means, from river to sea, because the river's on the border of Israel, and the sea is to the west.
Yeah, it's the genocide of Jews. Is what it is calling for.
And so I don't know. So what'd you think of it? And what'd you think about the Democrats? Some Democrats voting to censure her as well.
Well, I'm sure that there are still some Democrats that are just Democrats. Like, they get elected on a Democrat ticket. They're not necessarily far left crazy assholes. Rashida Tlaib, I think she almost seems like, I don't know if it'd be Palestinian, but almost like a plant. Like she goes in there, she says stupid ass anti-Semitic shit all the time.
All the time.
She's an idiot. And then as soon as this kicks off, then she goes into like super dumbass racist, mode. And it's like, because, it's kind of weird too. I still think it should be against the rules or even the law to have another nation's flag or another people's flag because they don't have a nation, but any flag out of the United States outside of your office. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what censure means. I guess you said she gets kicked out of her.
She gets kicked off all committees. She's obviously still in the House.
Do they make more money for that?
I don't know. I really don't.
I mean, it's like, oh no, less work for me.
Yeah, let me look it up.
But if you make more money. But yeah, I don't know. I never liked her. I don't know. See, this is a product. You know why we have people like Rashida and Ilhan Omar and all that stuff? That's because of Obama. He concentrated populations of refugees in areas, and that's how you get these anti-American, racist-ass congresswomen or men and whatever. Like that. Thank you, Obama. He did that.
They do not receive compensation for service on committees.
So basically, they censured her to where she doesn't have to do as much work, giving her more time for protests.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was bad anyways because, like you said, right after the October 7th, pretty much mass killing of Jews, she put a Palestinian flag up on her office.
Yeah, I think she should be expelled from Congress.
I agree.
Look, there's certain things I know. I get we're a free country, and I'm cool with that. There are certain things that will never jive with the Constitution and spirit of what America is. So there should never be allowed to be a socialist or communist representation in our government ever. Period. Don't give a fuck. If you want to go talk about communism and how you think it's super awesome and have your little clubs, what the fuck ever. It's a free country. But this is a free country. Ergo, there is no socialism or communism or supporting terrorists allowed in the government. Yeah, period. Like, there's certain things that shouldn't be allowed. And here's another thing I heard on the radio. Someone, I guess the new Speaker of the House called the congressman from New York that tubby dipshit who's an idiot, like all Congress people.
Okay.
Well, he brought up that people are like, oh, why are they allowing all these illegals in? And well, in New York City, I think, and some other cities in the United States, illegals can vote in municipalities. Here's what I don't understand. Doesn't that fall under the supremacy clause of the Constitution? Like, only U.S. citizens can vote in U.S. elections.
Is it an
so
amendment?
How the hell can... I don't know, but that's the law. It doesn't have to be in a constitutional amendment. If it's a federal law that's not deemed unconstitutional, a city or state cannot make a law that circumcedes it or whatever.
Yeah, Yeah, I would think so.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think it comes down to the DOJ having to sue them over it. But I would think that you can't just be like, nope, we're going to
somebody could sue it and they could go to the Supreme Court with it.
Yeah, because like there's no way that you could. That just doesn't make any sense. So even if you have all these dumbasses that vote for the Republican councilmen and women or whatever that pass this law, okay, well then once you get all these illegal in here, what you've just done was voted away any future voice you'll ever have, unless you sue. And the Supreme Court's like, no, you can't allow illegals can't vote in this country. Period.
No, and I don't get why I would ever.
And that's another reason, back to the original question, I think 22 Democrats voted for her because, yeah, there's a lot of people on the left and a lot of and progressives that are super racist, anti-Semitic pieces of shit, but not all of them. And there was did you hear about that? It wasn't a documentary thing, but basically, I guess Israel took all the raw footage from
Hamas
and made a video of it. and then they show it to
Gal
people.
Gadot or whatever.
And then I kind of want to see it, but I don't. Like, it's one of those things where, like,
it's horrific.
It's one of those things where it needs to be witnessed by people. So when somebody says it's fake or whatever, you can punch them in the face. I think legally, I think that should be, punch them in the face with facts and be like, "Watch this." But
with your fist.
No. They were talking to these college kids, and they literally didn't believe that October 7th happened.
People are stupid, man. Especially
they're just doing this because they're told to.
Did you see the place that they showed it? I can't remember what it is.
I know there's a lot of people mad in that LA, they were showing it.
In LA, so Palestinian supporters were beating up Jewish people.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. So anybody trying to get in there and watch it, they were getting in fights.
See, that's the weird thing too.
The best way to say you're not a violent people and for violence is by being violent, because that's the way to do it.
Well, and and it's, I guess I didn't read much into it, but I did hear that a Muslim kid was stabbed or something like that.
I think that happened in Chicago or something.
And then they don't say anything about the rabbi that got hit with the megaphone.
Which is going to be my next question anyways.
Oh, well, let's get into it, buddy. Let's get after it.
All right. Anti-Semitic crimes seem to be happening more often. A man was obviously killed. Well, not obviously, but he was killed during a pro-Palestine rally because he was holding an Israeli flag. So a college professor hit him in the head with a megaphone and basically knocked to the curb. And I guess, I don't know if the blunt force of the megaphone hit or the curb hit killed him, but he died. And the Biden administration said nothing about it and has been more focused on anti-Islam crimes or Islamic crimes. And it's the only one I've really heard of is that one where the kid got killed, which was horrific, and people shouldn't do shit like that.
Yeah, but that wasn't like an Israeli Muslim thing, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
A Muslim kid getting stabbed was?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, because he's getting charged with a hate crime.
I don't understand. He killed
the kid and his mother because they were Islamic.
And it was a Jewish dude?
I don't know if it's a Jewish dude. I think it was.
Or are they just pointing out
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about it. I think it was a white dude that killed.
What the fuck is going wrong with people? Like, seriously, what the fuck?
I don't know. But I just don't. What do you think the reasoning of this is? And I mean, for the Biden administration not calling out all these. I mean, there's video after video of
they just say it's
harassed
horrible.
At colleges, college professors yelling at Jewish students because they're pro-Israel, or and Jewish students having to hide in certain parts of a college because it wasn't safe for them to go outside, so they had to be pretty much locked in a certain area so they were safe. One college had signs on 2 different places that said "Kill Jews." I mean,
they're starting to go after it more now because people are starting to get you can't hide it anymore.
These people who are ripping down the posters of people who are missing and were taken hostage during October 7th. These things are becoming more and more, and every time it happens, there's always that fat white chick in the foreground who, you don't want to just label people. I mean, she's obviously one of the they-thems.
All we're saying is there's a look.
That would be murdered immediately as she stepped into Palestine. And I mean, and the Biden administration is basically doing nothing. They're not saying, they always caveat stop doing anti-Semitic stuff with stop doing anti-Islamic stuff. I mean, it's the same as this, don't be racist. Yes, we should not be, but there's obviously an uptick in Jewish hate. And I don't think there's a lot of uptick in anti-Islamic. I mean, people are more mad at Hamas. Obviously destroy Hamas. That's not saying kill everybody in Palestine. It's kill all these Hamas terrorist motherfuckers. And that's what basically people are saying. These people are savages. They're a plague of the earth and they need to be wiped out. So, and I think that's what should happen. No one's saying, hey, kill every Palestinian in Palestine. It's, 20% of Israel is Islamic because they allow everybody in there. 0% of Palestine is Jewish.
That's because Israel forcibly removed them from the Gaza Strip.
Well, they wouldn't be Gaza Strip.
It's not like they'd be welcome, but
no, they wouldn't be alive right now if they were there when they got out of Gaza.
Well, yeah.
So, because the Hamas charter is number 1, kill all Jews.
Yeah, they're actually kind of lucky that they were able to be there as long as they were. Like, that would be like Canada or Mexico having that about America. It's like, yeah, okay, fuck you. We're just going to go ahead and keep you knocked back into the Stone Age forever. There's no way in hell. Especially when they're firing rockets at you. Like, everyone talks all this shit about Israel. Like, oh, the Jewish people are taking over the world. It's a big conspiracy and blah, 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 blah. Like, they literally has been nothing but defensive. Now, every now and again, Hamas will do something, over the top, and then Israel go in, and the world's like, no, they're just angry and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? It's not Israel's fault. It's like this bullshit with them doing a 4-hour pause every day with a 3-hour look ahead because Rashida got in trouble for saying, from the river to the sea. And so now she's saying, we need a ceasefire. We need a ceasefire. I'm like, and if I was, he's kind of that way, but if I was the prime minister of Israel, I can't remember his name, Netanyahu, I'd be like, fuck off. We'll pause when we're done.
Yeah. We pause when everybody in Hamas is dead.
I wouldn't give them any breathing room. Like, we're going to go in, we're going to totally cripple Hamas to where they can never come back again. And they're already talking about, obviously, they're going to have to be there for a while, but they're going to put in place a structure to where they don't have to worry about assholes coming over and murdering their innocent people.
Yeah. And what sucks is nobody wants that. No one wants the Gaza. Because all those people are brainwashed to become radicals.
Well, and Palestinians think they're in an open air prison. But like they're supplied their air, their water and power because the aid that was given to them was used for making rockets, all other shit. Like you can't tell me that with the amount of aid that goes there that they couldn't build a power plant, they couldn't build water pumps and water treatment systems and all that shit to where they don't have to rely on the neighbor that they're always shooting rockets at. Yet they still supplied them with water and power up until they got to the fuck around and find out stage. So I mean, I don't know. And like it is weird though because they do point out like any anti-Semitic thing is bad, and that's all they really say about it. They don't. The White House doesn't get very into depth about any anti-Semitic stuff, but if any is anti-Islamic or something,
every time they get asked a question, they turn to the. I mean, again, it was horrific, but every time they talk about anti-Semitic stuff, somehow Jean Pierre or Karen Jean Pierre or whatever her name is, Green. I don't know.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, basically the worst press secretary ever.
Hands
basically,
down.
She always turns back to anti-Islamic.
Yeah, it's like that's not what we're talking about. That is bad. That's not the topic at hand.
No, because she'll never.
That's how they redirect it.
But how? And Jewish people, I think, are 2/3 more likely to vote for Democrats than.
Yeah, sure as fuck don't get that.
Don't know if that's going to happen. Do you think they're going to lose the Jewish vote?
I don't see how they don't, other than maybe some people are just programmed to vote Democrat. But I never understood how the Democrats had the Jewish vote in the first place. Like, that never made any sense to me. So if any Jewish person votes Democrat, other than Bernie Sanders obviously will,
Yeah, obviously.
He's Jewish.
Well, he's also a communist, so.
He's a communist Jew, which that doesn't seem to.
Nope, but it happens, I guess. That one
so
time.
Yeah, there'll probably still be some, but I haven't understood for a long because all the anti-Semitic shit that has come out has been from the left. So how in the fuck do you vote for that? I don't understand a lot of stuff. I don't understand how the Democrats have the black vote on lock.
I don't either.
And the funny thing is they're losing the Hispanic vote because all the Hispanic people that are here legally are pissed off at all the illegals. And it's not even just that. Most of it's this crazy culture shit that the left is pushing. Like they're like traditionally Catholic religious people and they don't appreciate all this crazy shit that the left's pushing. So they're losing Hispanics in droves. So I don't know, but it's definitely, you can definitely see that there's a bias, and they either talk about some kind of Islamic crime or they'll start talking about Ukraine again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there shouldn't be any kind of crime against somebody because of what their faith or color of their skin. I mean, I think if you're that shallow of a person, if you have that much hate in your heart, you're a piece of shit.
Well, and I think those people are actually, to use the word that I'm tired of hearing, radicalized to the point where they truly believe that if you don't believe in their religion and you don't carry belief that you're the devil, so you need to die. Because that's how the left does stuff. They demonize people on the right. Basically, it's like, well, they're Nazis or they're the devil. The devil's bad, so you can. And that's why.
How do you call somebody Nazis? Then your side's against fucking Jewish people.
Well, because they can get away with it because the media doesn't check them on it.
Fucking.
I don't know how much that's really working anymore, but we haven't seen it in the elections. I mean, the left.
Well, I mean, no, Jesus. Hey, we'll get to that. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get how. I mean, they're turning on Biden a little bit. I think that's just because they want him out, so they don't think he can beat Trump. So I think they're trying to,
if people ever woke up to the fact that everything that's happening right now in the Biden administration is exactly what the progressive left that has taken over the Democrat Party wants to happen, and realize that any Democrat that gets elected, unless they're literally ostracized from the people in Washington, you're going to get the exact same fucking thing. Everything that's going on right now is just going to continue.
A moderate Democrat is a dying breed.
Yeah, and that's the problem, and that's why we're getting some wonky shit on the Republican side too, because it's like, yeah, I can't vote for the crazy shit Democrat, but they still have, somewhat of the progressive left ideas, so that's why either they don't vote or some of the Republican stuff's got to get pretty watered down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just can't believe anybody votes for Democrat anymore. I know Manchin's retiring because he fucked up.
Yeah.
Voting for the old Green New Deal put the nail in his coffin.
Yup.
So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, it's so rampant that people are actually waking up and are disgusted by the amount of anti-Semitism going on. And I hope all these colleges lose money, and I know people are losing jobs, and they deserve it. Like, if you can't go on there, if you're too stupid to do the research. If you're here on a
visa and for college and you're part of these anti-Semitic rallies, you should be deported.
Yeah, you should be deported. And did you hear about that fucking dude who's on the terror watch list that applied for asylum?
Huh?
Yeah, he was over here. He got over here somehow, like, to where he had like a work visa or something. And then they found out he's on the terror watch list, and they caught him when he applied for what the fuck is that called? They say it all the time. That's why all the illegals come over here. Asylum.
Asylum,
I literally just said it. Well, the one thing is, if you've been in the United States for a year, you're automatically rejected. Like, you might still get a court date, but they know if you just apply for it, it's going to be 1 to 5 years before you ever see a court. But if you're in the United States for over a year, you cannot claim asylum. You'll automatically be rejected.
Like that's something.
But yeah, he's a fucking terrorist.
Jesus. See.
Yeah. That's where we're at. A lot of people are getting pretty fucking pissed off. Like, they're really talking about impeaching Mayorkas or whatever that dude's name is.
Oh, Well, you saw that like 8 people died, and
Yeah, because of I don't know if they were in a high speed chase, but I think it was a coyote and a
a
bunch of
coyote and
illegals.
a bunch of illegals hit an SUV. And it killed 2 grandparents and all
I
the
know
illegals.
everybody involved died,
Yes.
and I know we have car wrecks where people die, but if we didn't have illegals over here, those 2 people would still be alive.
Yes.
So
If we
just
had a
saying.
little border security, those 2 people. If we had a fucking wall, those 2 people would be alive.
But it has to be a beautiful wall, Kevin.
A big, beautiful wall with gun turrets.
Yeah,
Because you
or
can't have a good
lasers,
wall.
where you go to put your arm over and your arm just falls off. Oh shit! Let's try this one. Ah, no.
It cauterizes it, so you just have to live with it.
Yep. It's like, oh, you tried to get in the wrong way, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah. It cauterizes.
Here, I'll throw your arms back over.
What if it cauterized it, and when the cauterized wound has the American flag on it?
That would be fucking hilarious. We spent trillions of dollars coming up with that technology, but I feel like it was worth it.
I think it would be awesome. So, all right. This one
It says thanks for coming.
Thanks.
That's horrible.
Thanks
Hilarious.
for leaving a piece of you here. Don't come back now. That'd be awesome. This is kind of the last. I know there's some other stuff I want to talk about, but this is the last thing I had in my notes. Stephen Crowder's investigative team from Louder with Crowder got a hold of the Covenant School Shooters Manifesto. At least 3 of the pages I saw. I think that's all they got, wasn't it?
That's all they were able to get, yeah.
Did you read it, and what did you make of that rambling?
Well, I did read it, and I didn't get the typed version of it, so I had to read the handwritten one, and
that's the one I read.
A little rough to read.
Yeah.
But when you read the typed out version, the one thing almost sounds like a poem where she's talking about crackers and
oh yeah,
dropping the F word, not F-U-C-K, the word we use, the one that you don't use anymore, about people who are attracted to the same sex.
Yes.
So that was very confusing, and she used that multiple times. She was obviously deranged.
Obviously, as a woman who was transitioning to a man, she really, a white woman who is transitioning to a white man, talking about white male privilege and white privilege, and
it was literally spewing left-wing progressive propaganda. That's what that was. And that's why I think they hit it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, this is how you know the left is corrupt and in every facet of government and all these agencies, because these pages, every manifesto from every, if there's a killing of, let's say, minorities, and it's by a white dude who is a white supremacist or believes in white supremacy, rhetoric, those manifestos get released immediately. It's been like, what, 7 months?
8, I think.
8 months since this shooting happened.
Knocking on the door of 8.
And this would never have leaked, ever, if this didn't, whoever leaked it. This would never have seen the light of day.
No, if the shooting pushes a narrative, like the guy in, was it Maine or something? The army guy who shot like 20 people. He was a firearms instructor, served in the military. He was white. He was male. Boom, right away. Even though I personally would have kept that quiet because of why he was on psychological leave from the military, but whatever. But if it pushes the anti-gun, take guns away storyline, then they'll push it. If it doesn't, and it literally makes everything the progressive left has been saying look horrible. Because I remember even after the shooting, they were they were worried about how people are going to treat trans people. Like, they totally skipped over the fact that this person who is transgender just shot and killed 2 children and 2 school attendants. So like they're like, "Oh, well, we just got to make sure the trans people are safe." It's like, "Yeah, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about dead children and the motivation that was obviously, now that we know, and everybody had an idea of what motivated this. I didn't know about the whole white privilege and she was a huge self-hating racist, um but like everyone had an idea that's what it was from, but now we know. It's like all this crap you're spewing because you spew hate and the left makes the other side evil. So you get somebody who's mentally unstable who now thinks that they were born as the wrong sex and probably taking hormones. They say that taking steroid, like a woman taking steroids as far as trying to transition to a man makes them like more unstable and aggressive than someone who just takes anabolics, like a guy taking steroids to get big. So that's another thing people don't even talk about. Now, granted, they're still small. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of actual women who transition to be men that are jacked, but
No,
I'm sure there's some out there, exception to every rule.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty beefy women in muscle, like weightlifting competitions. Like, oh, that is super sexy. Not my cup of tea, personally.
Not my cup of tea. But yes, and it wasn't. I mean, obviously, we didn't hear of it because, I mean, I think their excuse was they didn't want trans violence to happen. But
that's what I understand, though. So, like,
what violence?
One crazy person does that. You're like, you know what? I'm going to put a stop to this right now. I'm going to go after some other random trans person that had nothing to do with this. That's not how rational people fucking think.
No. But yet you won't condemn anti-Islamic hate?
Yeah. It's stupid. And the repercussions from them releasing those letters or that manifesto is them just going after them for doing it. No one ever disputed whether or not they were real because they knew they were real. The problem was the fact that they did it.
I think they actually said it was the
if
pages.
It was fake, there wouldn't have been 2 cops that got fired over it.
No, and they shouldn't have got fired anyways.
No.
That should have been released.
Well, the mayor of Nashville's a douchebag.
He's probably a fucking Democrat.
He is. Yeah. And he's kind of like that dude who got elected as Chicago mayor. He's a little out there.
He's super progressive.
Well, he's just weird. Yeah. Like, don't want him around your kids weird. Kind of like, hey, everybody. I'm the mayor of Nashville.
Bring your kids here. No.
It's free candy at the mansion day. I mean, it's like, that dude's weird. But yeah, I never, but that's what was weird about it. Cause like YouTube's going to, like, if you show these pages on your channel, you're going to get a hard strike for sure because it's organized crime or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, and I understand that it was a stressful moment when you find out that there's a shooting at a school that your kids were at. I can only imagine how stressful and horrible that was, knowing that was happening, knowing your kids in your building. But I do not understand why a father of children that went to the school that weren't shot somehow is the voice for all the parents at that school. And he was like, I don't feel like those should have been ever released and blah, blah, blah.
Don't you think?
I just don't. Who are you to make this call?
Don't you think there should be some closure for the parents to know why their kids were gunned down?
Well, and even if the parents didn't want to know it, at the end of the day, it was U.S. citizens shot, and you need to know the motive. So we need, as a society, we need to know if we need to look at something. Because
if there's a warning in there, there's some kind of trigger that, that happened where, something to look out for,
Yeah, that jerk off needed to have her whole life gone through what built her up to this motivation. Because before that, she seemed like she was like an artsy, nerdy kid. If you ever saw the pre-things, I think it probably happened in college or whatever that she got turned all weird. But it's like, okay, we need to know what led to this, so we need to know what to watch out for. It's like, okay,
I think we all know what led to this.
But like, does women taking these hormone testosterone changing drugs possibly make them psychotic? Is that something we need to look at? Maybe we should possibly stop rushing into shoving pills down people's throats who are, confused for whatever reason on what gender they should be, probably because of a lack of self-worth and identity. Maybe we should slow that down. Oh no, we can't do that because that takes away from the progressive left's agenda for somehow making people unhappy. Like, I don't know how many other than old Bruce are like super happy that they're like, yeah, I cut my junk off and I'm happy about it.
I mean, obviously, I don't think I know anybody trans.
I don't know anybody personally, but like, you never see a lot of people that are like super happy, like, happy go lucky. It's like anyone who's doing that turns it into like
super happy in life, period.
But not what I'm saying is like they say we need to do this to be happy. They're not happy. They end up becoming angry activists for more people to do what they did. Or when they grow up and their brain is developed,
they know it's a mistake.
Yeah, and they're like, oh fuck, what the hell did I do? So unless which we may or may not have an episode about, you use heavy amounts of alcohol or marijuana or really any drugs throughout your adolescence, your brain pretty well gets stuck at whatever age you started abusing drugs if you do them heavily. So like you have a certain amount of time your brain forms, and if you like start smoking a shit ton of pot in your lower teens and you just keep smoking through that, in your mid-20s, your brain's done and your maturity level is like stuck at wherever you started. And those people will end up going on to having hard drug habits. So we might have an episode about the devil's lettuce because I think legalizing marijuana is stupid.
Which personally. Ohio just did.
Yeah, it's not making anything better. Construction costs a lot more in Colorado because they can't have any construction workers because they're all a bunch of potheads.
Do you want to talk anything about this shooter anymore?
No, she was a horrible person. She's burning in hell. I'm sure that there was some tragic thing there. She got confused. What the fuck ever. Once you start killing kids, nobody gives a fuck about what your problems are. You're a piece of shit.
Don't give a fuck.
I do think that it does show that everything that we hear on TV is scripted to fit a narrative.
Yep.
I think that's pretty well.
The media's corrupt. The government's corrupt.
Crowder called the backlash the day he did it.
Yeah.
And then they did exactly what he said they were going to do. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, speaking of the bills in Ohio, they basically ratified Roe v. Wade into their constitution. It was not a good off year for Republicans. This is like our 7th election in a row where we've lost since 2016. What is going on with Republicans, or what is going on with America not seeing common sense?
Well, I think the biggest problem with America is we are a morally corrupt country now. Well, if you think about it now, I'm not saying it because apparently everyone talks about the silent majority. The silent majority needs to get loud pretty quick and show up to fucking polls and do something, because we basically become our culture's just morally corrupt. I mean, what's been driving people to the polls and what's been keeping Democrats in power is people wanting to murder babies. You can say whatever you want. That's what abortion is. You're murdering your baby. And the big thing is they want to be able to, like you were saying, the left wants to be able to have an abortion up into after birth. And I know a lot of people are the heartbeat bill because we say you're dead when you don't have a heartbeat. So, obviously you're alive if you have a heartbeat. But then they're like, all right, well, let's go 15 weeks because that's when the baby feels pain. And if, like what I was saying before we started the show, once you know that should, if we were actually a moral country and weren't in such decline, once you found out that if someone's having an abortion after 15 weeks, that baby is feeling what they're doing to them while they're killing it, that should automatically be outlawed. And we're not making any, and that's why you almost have to do what Nikki Haley does and just let's just try late term abortions, because right now we're morally and socially corrupt in this country. Like everyone's acting like they're a bunch of Virgin Marys just fucking waking up pregnant. Like we're not doing anything culturally. Like, hey, how about we? And I'm not talking about 2% rape and incest. You bring that up, you're dipshit, and you have no real argument about it. But it's like, hey, here's an idea. How about we stop having unprotected sex? I mean, it pisses me off that there are some guys holding out because the military wants to pay for abortions in the military. It's like, I don't think any tax dollars should go to pay for
Tommy
any abortions. Yeah. Yep. But I don't think any taxpayer dollars should go to pay for abortions.
No,
period,
especially should, any taxpayer money shouldn't go towards abortions or transitioning.
And they keep saying, "Oh, we had to make contraceptives available." What the fuck are they talking about? You can go to I mean, even though they're more happy if you don't use them so they can kill babies and sell their parts, I'm pretty sure you can go to Planned Parenthood and they have basically a candy jar full of condoms. It's like, they give away free, but it doesn't feel as good. I mean, that's our problem. It's like people have all this unprotected sex and they do the hookup culture, and they're using abortion as a form of birth control. That's what abortion is. And I used to not be so outspoken about this. I've always been kind of like, you do you, I don't give a shit. But then I guess I started paying attention, more stuff started coming to light. But when there are hundreds of thousands of abortions every year in the United States, when there are more black babies killed by abortions than born in New York City, we have a serious fucking problem in this fucking country. And it's not whether or not women's health care is protected by some fucking law. It's how about you stop going out and getting fucking knocked up? And if it's rape or incest, that's a different story. We can talk about it. But have self fucking responsibility and maybe a little bit of what do you call that?
Willpower?
Yeah, willpower. Self-control. How about that? Oh no, we can't do that. It's all about feeling good and do whatever the fuck you want. Who cares? Who gives a shit about the baby? Who gives a shit if the baby can feel you cutting its spinal cord? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I mean, we have to deal with what we're dealt, but fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, that happened in Ohio, and
I think no, I don't know what happened in Virginia. I know
they lost the House and the Senate. So I don't know what's going on. I think Rona.
Oh yeah, and what's her face needs to get fired from the RNC for one thing, because of who her dad is.
Yeah, Mitt Romney.
Yeah, Mitt Romney basically it started out a Democrat and he ended as a Democrat because that fucker's a Democrat. He's been a rhino his entire life, and why the hell they ever made his daughter the RNC chair, I'll never know. I don't like the way she talks. She talks like a Democrat.
In all honesty, it's because Trump appointed her.
What the fuck, Trump?
I know. That was his one big flaw is he surrounded himself with a bunch of fucking...
I really hope he gets a second term just because
I hope
he got screwed over by the people that he put around him so bad. Yeah, that it's it'd just be nice to get Trump in office with the previous experience.
Yeah, because now we're all getting screwed because Romney chick is
horrible
at her job.
She's not. Well, and he also learned you do not have carryovers.
Yeah,
I don't know. She's garbage. It's the president appoints the RNC chair. I did not know that.
Well, he didn't appoint her,
or he endorsed her. Endorsed her.
Yeah.
I don't know who makes that decision, but she needs to be fired, and they need to put in somebody who actually can,
who's competent.
Yeah, and make the argument.
Can actually look at what money needs to go where and fund certain races more than others.
Yeah, because
if you're in a place that's heavily Republican, and you're pretty much almost guaranteed to win, how about we in a purple area? We put a little more money in that area.
That sounds super dumb, Kevin.
I know. I'm thinking outside the box here, and it's just a weird strategy that people should come up with and find people who are competent.
And I don't know if you know this, America, but technically, me and Kevin are uneducated.
We are
according
uneducated.
to the elites and the people who like to sit around and think about stupid shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
intellectuals. Nobody gives a fuck about intellectuals.
We ain't one of them.
Stupid.
We ain't one of them college people.
We're one of those check the box for some college people.
Yes.
Which basically you're admitting that you're a quitter.
I'm a dropout.
It's like, well, this guy obviously lacks determination.
Exactly. Well, I just found out that college wasn't for me.
I actually like going to college. I just didn't like being broke because I didn't take out any. That's why I don't feel sorry for people that have all this debt. Like, I remember a guy we know is always saying like, "Oh, we were told we had to go to college and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Well, no one told you had to take out all these high ass expensive loans and shit." And like, I literally stopped going to college. I was only supposed to be off for a year, but then it turns out I liked having money. But like, I wasn't 100% sure I wanted to do. I wasn't going to take out any loans, and I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't going to take on that debt. So it's like
college
I made that decision
to where I could pay for it.
Well, I think now I'm not going to lie. I think I got some kind of scholarship from where it wasn't a scholarship. It was like a benefit from my dad worked, but it was supposed to be for me to go to the college where he worked at.
I think because my dad was retired.
They just didn't know.
My dad's retired. They helped pay for my college too.
But so. I paid for my books and all that stuff. And I paid for my apartment and
yep.
I didn't get on any food assistance. You know what? So this might be a little thing. I haven't looked up the recipe yet, but it kind of pisses me off because I remember my college days. I had a lot of ramen noodles, Kevin, and I know you did too because your little punk ass used to eat all my food when I was out of town working. I get back to the apartment and all my food's gone. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Kevin. I feel sorry for you. I don't want you to starve. Here is 900 packs of ramen noodles that I got for 75 cents. Apparently, you get rid of whatever seasoning pack you have. You put ramen noodles, and then you put ricotta cheese and spaghetti sauce. Then more ramen, ricotta cheese, spaghetti sauce. Oh, no, it's ricotta, spaghetti sauce, cheese. Ramen, ricotta, spaghetti sauce, cheese. And then you throw it in the oven. And then you put a little bit of water in with it and you just bake it. And it basically turns into ramen lasagna. It's like, what the fuck?
If you find that recipe,
afforded ricotta. I got it. I sent it to my phone. I didn't actually listen to it, but I sent it there. I'll send the video to you. But I'm going to try it because I remember on payday, because I was basically broke.
Yeah, you can afford fucking.
But I went and got ramen,
spaghetti sauce.
Yeah, it's like spaghetti sauce, ricotta cheese isn't expensive, and like mozzarella. And you just stack it up, and it's 2 packs of fucking ramen with all the other shit. You know, if you work some extra hours, maybe you get the meaty sauce, like meaty sauce.
Yeah, get the ragu with meat.
But like sauce. My fancy shit was making ramen, and then I got pre-cooked prime rib that you get for like $8, like a thing, and I would, ooh, I'm eating good today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I'm broke for the next 2 weeks.
Exactly.
But I didn't take on all that debt. Like there's people that took on a shit ton of debt, even if their school was paid for. They took out loans for their living expenses, and like not a little amount of money, like a decent amount of money. It's like if you got a great job after college and you weren't an idiot and went for something stupid, then great, you can pay your loans back, and Biden paying off other people's loans who didn't are fucking you over. But if you went to school and took out all his debt and then turns out you're a dumbass and you can't get a job, well, that's on you. Like, I don't feel sorry for these people. I'm like, oh, they were told you had to go to college. I'm like, well, no, you didn't.
Well, you did. I mean,
we were told that.
Yeah, I know. But you don't have to go to college. Just go to college. You're supposed to go to college to find for a career.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think they need to go to college to discover who they are.
No, that's not what college is for. It's for your future career.
Yeah, continuing education. Now, you might have a good time or, whatever. I think that's another thing. College became less about education, more about partying and discovering your inner you, which may or may not be the opposite sex. So I don't know, it was weird. I mean, I did enjoy going to school. Like, I learned early on in high school that if I wasn't into a subject, it was almost impossible for me to learn. But I took all my major classes my first year, so I was like, oh, yeah, I'm enjoying this. I didn't even study hard, and I got pretty decent grades, except for algebra. I barely passed. In fact, I'm pretty sure I failed, and I think I've said that on the show before. She passed me because I tried hard. I got a participation award at algebra.
See? Yeah, your participation award.
That's the only green ribbon that I'm like, you know what? I'll take it.
This one. I'm
I
taking
feel
this one.
like I earned this green
Yeah,
ribbon.
kept me from not going back to high school.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, real quick, we're heading up on an hour here. What'd you think of the? Did you watch the debate at all?
I only watched clips of it. I don't think there's anything new. I know there's a lot. I think they didn't allow them to the back and forth. I was glad to not see Pence on the stage. I saw the one governor that I kind of liked. I don't know if he dropped out, but I don't think he made the stage.
No, he dropped out. Pence dropped out.
No, Pence dropped out. But what about the two governors?
I think Burgum's still there, but he didn't have enough.
Is Burgum the one I like or don't like?
He's the one from South Dakota, maybe?
Is he the one with the longer hair?
I think so.
I think I like him. I don't dislike him. I think it makes sense.
I don't dislike him.
The other guy I did not like. He was like the
Sununu or
COVID communist.
Yeah, he was like an Alabama or Arkansas or.
Yeah, the only thing that I really learned is I don't know who's giving you rotten salami advice, but his campaign's going off the rails because he's getting a little too back and forth with Nikki Haley, and Nikki Haley made two statements that didn't make any sense Judge Janine on the 5. I don't know if you ever watched that or listened to it on Fox News. She said, like, I ran for blah, 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 and it's really bad when people go after your kids. He never went after Nikki Haley's kid, like, derogatorily. He just said, if you're going to go talk crap about TikTok, then maybe you should say something to your daughter because she's on TikTok. It wasn't derogatory. He was just saying, you're against it.
I mean,
your daughter's
the worst
on
thing
it.
He said was check your house.
Yeah, but, like, it wasn't like going after the kids like, hey, your kid's a piece of shit.
No.
And then take my daughter out of your voice. That's
a weird way of saying something.
And then she was saying, I wear 5-inch heels and they're my ammunition. What the fuck did that mean? They kept repeating. I'm like, I don't understand what that means. The
Daily Wire had a pretty good meme of that.
What was it?
It was, somebody like drowning and somebody holds out their hand and the person drowning says America and the person holding out their hand says Nikki Haley. Then it says 5-inch heels and it gives a high five and the guy fucking drowns.
Damn it, I want to see that.
I'll send it to you if I can find it. I'll send it to you.
It
was on Twitter. It's pretty good.
Yeah, if you can find it, we'll flash it up here. If not, then obviously you won't see it. Yeah, but I did realize I don't understand why people like Nikki. I don't like her.
I don't.
I think she's bitchy, preachy, and she's basically the Republican version of Hillary Clinton. I just don't like her. I don't know what it is. I'm not a fan. I don't know. She kind of seems preachy. I think that's what it is. She thinks she's fucking perfect. And she talks down to dudes a lot. You ever notice that? She kind of has that feminist attitude kind of thing. It's like she's done it a couple times. Now, granted, women make up over half the population, but I guarantee women don't make up over half of the Republican voting pool. So I don't know why she keeps doing that, but I don't know. For whatever reason, she rubbed me the wrong way. I wouldn't vote for her if she was the nominee, then yes, I would vote for her. Because I'm not a dipshit. Be like, I'm going to stay home and let the Democrat win because I'm a dumbass. But in the primary, there's no way in hell I'd vote for it. And I don't understand how it's like, well, I like Trump, but Nikki Haley's got her ups and downs. The only thing Nikki Haley is doing better than everybody else, like we mentioned before, is her stance at abortion, and she's placating to the pro-choice people. Like she's like, I am totally pro-life, but I'm not going to, talk down or, disparage a pro-choice person. Can't we just agree that, the third trimester is like, off limits and like, so, I mean, she's making more headway than other people is, but she's doing it by placating to the left. And I guess
it never works out that way because most people on the left are always going to vote left. So
it's just amazing. If there's a bunch of people on the right just not voting, I mean, it's such a weird thing that really draws people. That's when you know that the Democrats are a death cult, because that apparently that's what really gets their motor going to go out and vote, is killing babies. So,
well, I heard, there's people who would never vote for, the never Trumpers that wouldn't vote, that just won't vote Trump's for office, or if he gets the nomination. And there's also Trump voters that won't vote if Trump doesn't get the nomination.
That's stupid.
And either way is dumb.
Yeah. I'm voting, and I'm going to vote for whoever is the Republican nominee. Not voting is fucking stupid.
I think there's, except for unless it's Mitt Romney.
Oh, and by the way, BLM branch co-founders, election bombshell, Trump, best candidate for president. So there's your little random factoid.
Wow. So the thing with, I think the debate, I don't know. I watched it. I thought most everybody did good. Tim Scott was weird. He kind of kept moving away from his mic, then back into it.
Let's be honest. Tim Scott's a weird dude.
Yeah.
Not a bad dude. A little weird.
His cadence was weird at times. I thought DeSantis did well. I thought Vivek, his opening statement was good when he pretty much slammed.
Yeah, that.
NBC and Rona, whatever her name is.
Well, he slammed the whole. He media. Slammed her and then slammed the media for the Trump Russia shit. And then why don't you answer for that? Go.
Yeah. So I thought he did well there. Fat Christie, who cares? Who cares? I thought, everybody was, obviously kill Hamas, destroy Hamas.
I think that's another reason why I can't stand Nikki Haley, because she's pro give Ukraine whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. And, she answered that horribly. Christie answered that horribly. DeSantis at least said, hey, we need an end goal before he'll send anything. We have to figure out something to end this on. Vivek turned around to the border, which I get it. And I don't know. It was all right. It was probably the best moderated one so far.
Yeah, well, I think they just cut people off. They didn't allow.
I think that's because there's not 12 fucking people.
Well, and Fox wanted a debate. So, if someone talks shit about somebody, they wanted an actual debate, not basically a 4-person interview, which you wanted them to debate each other, but you can't
have people talking over each other and not be able to hear what.
Yeah, I think they need to be a little quicker on cutting people's mics. Pretty much they should have just left Pence's off, because nobody gives a shit what that guy say. Why the fuck he thought he had a chance in hell of ever getting elected? Not even just this one, ever. That dude will never be president.
Exactly.
Just because you can't piss off over half of the Republican base and think you're ever going to get elected.
So, it's about time to end this. So let's go to our new segment. And hopefully,
white racial slur of the week.
Hopefully you didn't just fast forward. Hopefully you listened to the whole episode, but I'll never know. So the white slur of the week this week is Trisket. Call your friend Trisket. And what it means is you are so white trashy that you are worse than a cracker. So if you really want to burn your white friend deep, call him Trisket. White trash slurs. So remember, everybody, every week we will be having a new white person slur.
White slur of the week.
Your white slur of the week. So, you got anything else before we leave?
Nope, we're going to end it on the that's going to be the end of every episode, Kevin. So that's it.
All right. Well, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this was the lost art of common sense.
Common sense.
Common sense.
Common sense.
Common sense. You're all a bunch of Triscuits.
We'll see you next week, everybody.